So, what would an encyclopedia written entirely by a robot actually look like? Well, surprise, now we know. But honestly, the most interesting part isn't the AI itself. It's what this new creation tells us about the messy, weird, and deeply human encyclopedia that we all use every single day. You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You go to look up one simple thing, and then you blink, and it's suddenly 2 hours later. You've clicked through, I don't know, a dozen different links, and now you're some kind of expert on a topic you'd never even heard of before. That, my friends, is the Wikipedia rabbit hole. For one person, this whole journey started with a Reddit post about a cave diver. That one single post led them to a Wikipedia page called the List of Unusual Deaths in the 21st Century. And just like that, they were off. It's a perfect, if, yeah, a little morbid example of this very unique online experience. And see, that's the key. That path you take down the rabbit hole, it wasn't designed by some algorithm trying to sell you something. No, it was curated by the collective and, let's be honest, sometimes very strange interests of thousands of actual people who are deciding what's important, what's connected, and what's just plain fascinating. This right here gives us a little peek behind the curtain. To even make it onto that unusual deaths list, an event has to clear a pretty high bar. Human editors actually sit there and debate this stuff. Death by a beach umbrella? Apparently that's no longer an unusual or unique occurrence. And as this quote shows, death by hippo is, tragically, not unusual at all. This is the human process in all its weird glory. Okay, so with that human context fresh in our minds, let's turn to the whole reason we're talking about this. A brand new, fully AI-generated encyclopedia. It's called Growpedia, and it is built on a completely different philosophy. Oof, this is how it's been described. Not really as a competitor, but as something fundamentally different. It's a system designed to just process and spit information back out, but without any of the human deliberation, the debate, or, well, without any of the heart that we were just talking about. And this really gets us to the core conflict, right? It's a clash between two totally different ways of building knowledge, passionate human editors versus automated algorithms. So on one side, you have Wikipedia's model. It's this massive, sprawling global collaboration of people arguing, setting rules, and eventually reaching some kind of consensus. And on the other side, you have Grokipedia, a single large language model, a black box that just generates articles with no visible process whatsoever. And that leads us to a huge one: transparency. With Wikipedia, every single change is tracked. You can go look at the edit history, you can read the debates on the talk pages. It's all right there out in the open. Grokipedia, though, it's completely opaque. There's no version history, no way to trace how an article was even created, or who might have changed what and when. So what does that human process actually involve? Well, it's this incredibly complex, sometimes totally chaotic, but ultimately structured ecosystem. We're talking millions of edit wars, endless discussions on talk pages, and this whole framework of, yeah, Byzantine, but battle-tested rules, all guided by a core mission. That's the invisible work holding up every single article. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the process, but what does this actually mean for the final product? What's the real, tangible difference when you, the reader, actually go to these sites to look something up? Well, the differences are pretty stark. People have noticed that Grokipedia articles just feel disorganized, with facts sort of listed at random. It's missing all those rich internal links that create the rabbit holes in the first place. There are no photos. And the writing style is described as way too long, with that very distinct kind of flat, AI-generated feel. It's a huge contrast to Wikipedia's concise, encyclopedic tone. All of this just raises a massive question, doesn't it? If the output is so different, what exactly is going on inside that black box? What instructions is this AI actually following? And this is where it gets really interesting. On one of Grokipedia's own pages, it looks like an internal instruction, a developer note, accidentally leaked out. This tiny fragment, wait, no, can't cite wiki, suggests the system has been specifically programmed to avoid citing its most obvious source of information, even while it seems to be using it a lot. So what does this all mean for the bigger picture? Because this comparison isn't just about two websites, it's really about the future of how we gather, trust, and interact with information itself. You see, the emergence of a project like Grokipedia is being seen by some as a kind of cautionary tale.
It's a real-world example of what can happen when you try to replace that complex, messy, but necessary process of human curation with a purely automated system. We risk losing not just clarity and context, but accountability itself.
When you really break it down, Grokipedia is missing the very things that define a useful encyclopedia. It's not transparent. It's not based on human judgment. It's not collaborative. And in essence, it isn't really edited in any meaningful way at all. And this brings us right back to the core idea. The reason Wikipedia has lasted, despite its own flaws and all its challenges, is because it leans into something an algorithm just can't replicate: the shared wisdom, the intense debates, and the massive collective effort of millions of people. So as we push forward into a world that's going to be increasingly shaped by AI, this whole situation leaves us with a really critical question. What's the real value of our human quirks, our debates over what makes a death unusual, and all of that shared collaborative weirdness? It's definitely something we're thinking about.